Okay, with this particular one, we're asked to solve it with, it's got three different equations with three different variables. A, B, and C is what we're looking for. Now, what we'll do here will work for any variables, no matter what, whether it's R, S, T, or X, Y, Z. Any of those will be just fine. Okay, so what we need to do is to find out what each value is. So the number one goal that we're going to start with is to try to reduce these three equations with three different variables to two equations with two variables. And that sounds kind of daunting, but that's our first step in solving this. Once we get it down to there, we've done those before, we've been doing those for a while, so let's look at this here. Now, I notice right here, let's see, the B's we can look at crossing some stuff off fairly easily, the C's as well, the A's as well. It really doesn't matter which one we choose to do. You just need to pick one of these three, A, B, or C, to try to eliminate. Okay, and you kind of just try to see if there's something that's easy. Unfortunately, here we cannot just simply add two different equations and eliminate one of these. We're going to have to manipulate them a little bit. In order to do that, what we're going to do is I'm going to take equation number one, and I'm going to leave it the same. I'm not going to change that at all. Okay, so I just rewrote that here, same equation. I'm going to take equation number 2 here and multiply this one by a negative 3. The reason why I'm going to multiply by a negative 3, that will give me a positive 3a here, and then I can eliminate my a's. And again, if you choose to eliminate b's, that's fine too. That would work just as well, but I had to choose one, so I chose an a. Okay, so I'm going to multiply each one of these by negative 3. That would give me a positive 3a, positive 3b, negative 3c, and a negative 9. Now that I have that, I'm going to add these two together. If I add these two together, let's see, those a's will cancel out, which is what I want. This will give me a negative 3b, a positive c, and a positive 2. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and I'm going to write this equation way up here, just so that it's out of our way. Give us a little bit more room to work here. Okay, so I did that. So I've got one equation with two variables. But what I'm trying to do here is to get this to two equations with two variables. So I used equations numbers 1 and 2 for this one. So I need to use equation number 3 somehow. I can do 1 and 3 will work fine, or I can do 2 and 3. Either one of those will work. So what I chose to do here is I chose to do equations number 2 and 3. If I do equation number 2, again, I'm trying to eliminate my a's. I've got to reduce it down to just b's and c's. So if I eliminate my a's, what I'm going to need to do here is to multiply this second equation by negative 2. I multiply that by negative 2, that will give me a positive 2a here, and I can cancel out my a's. So let's do that now. Each one of these by a negative 2. It means I'm going to change the sign on all of these. Negative 2 times negative a gives me 2a. This will give me a positive 2b, minus 2c, minus 6. Okay, each one of those parts there I multiplied by negative 2. The third equation I'm not going to change at all. I'm just going to rewrite it just as it appears. So that one I have alone there. And you'll want to notice this. On this first one here, I multiplied that second equation by something. On this next one here, the third equation I did not change at all. I just left it right alone because that's all I needed to do in order to eliminate my a's. You see here that I have a 2a minus 2a. This will get rid of my a's, which is what I want. Okay, so now that I have that, I can just simply add these. This is 2b plus 3b is 5b. This one's going to be a negative 5c and a negative 20. Now that I have all that, I'm going to take this equation here, I'm going to write it right up top here, just so that we have a little bit more room here. Okay, now that I have this equation written up top here, I've got to get rid of either my c's or my b's to find out what the other value is. I've reached my first goal, which is to have two equations with two variables. We got that. Okay, now I just need to work on eliminating some of these. So I can multiply this one by 5 and this one by 3 if I want. That will eliminate my b's. I can also multiply this top one here by 5, and that will actually eliminate my c's. So that's what I'm going to choose to do, only because I only have to multiply one equation. So I'm going to multiply that top one by 5. The bottom one I'm not going to change at all. So if I multiply that top one by 5 each part, 5 times negative 3b gives me negative 15b. 5 times c gives me 5c. And 5 times 2 gives me 10. Alright, now the second equation I did not change at all, so I'll just rewrite that one exactly as it appears. Okay, now that I have these, I can add these two equations together and get rid of my c's. So negative 15b plus 5b would give me a negative 10b. And 10 minus 20 is negative 10. My c's are gone. So now I need to get b all by itself. I need to divide both sides by negative 10, and I find out that b equals 1. Well, this is a major step because now I know one of the values. So now that I know one of these values, I'm going to try to find another value as fast as I can. Now I know what my b value is, and I've got this equation right here that has just b's and c's. So I'm going to plug it into one of these two equations, and it really doesn't matter which one you choose to plug it into. So I'm going to choose to plug it into the second one. And it really doesn't matter, but that's one I chose. So instead of writing 5b, I know what b is 1, so I'm going to plug that in for b. Okay, and everything else is the exact same equation. I haven't changed it at all. So now I'm just going to simplify this one and solve it for c. So 5 times 1 just gives me 5. 5 minus 5c equals negative 20. I'm going to move my 5 over to the other side. I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. If I do that, then I end up with negative 5c equals negative 25. So now I'm going to divide both sides by negative 5 to get my c all by itself. And if I do that, I find out that c equals 5. So now I'm sitting pretty good. I know my b value and I know my c value. Now I just need to find my a value. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take and plug both of these into one of these three equations. Again, it doesn't matter which one you choose to do it, but I'm going to write, it has to be an original one because these have our a values in them. I can find out what a is. These won't help me. They don't have any a's. So I'm going to write an original one. This one looks like it's the easiest. I don't have to multiply by much there other than a negative. So I'm going to write that second equation. Now what I do is I plug in my values for b and c into this equation here. So I know b is 1 and c is 5, so I plug those in now. Okay, so now that I've got all those plugged in, I can just simplify it. That's negative a minus 1 plus 5 equals 3. Negative 1 plus 5 would give me 4. Now I move my 4 over to the other side. I subtract 4 from both sides. Negative a equals negative 1, which means that a equals 1. Okay, so now I have all three values. I've got a equals 1, b equals 1, and c equals 5. So let's just rewrite those. I got a equals 1, b equals 1, and then of course I have c equals 5. When you write these down in your answer on the online system, you have to put them in parentheses. So you want to go open parenthesis, a value, b value, comma, c value. So the way that will look is a value is 1, comma, 1 is that comes from your b value, and c is 5. The reason why we're writing it in this order is it's alphabetical order, a, b, c. Okay, and that will be your final answer on these.